On the last lap of the single mixed relay of the European Championships, Switzerland's Niklas Hartweg threw down an absolutely masterful final lap to bring his team from 4th place into 2nd place. So in today's video, we're going to be breaking down his last lap and reviewing it from a technical analysis to help you have better course and race strategy. First, let's meet the players. Obviously, we have Niklas Hartweg, who has had an incredible jump in ski speed this year. On the World Cup, he's not the fastest skier out there, but he's had a huge leap in performance this year, putting him amongst the top 10 athletes in terms of results. So currently in 3rd place, we have Michal Usov from Moldova, actually. And no, Moldova is not a familiar name on the Biathlon World Cup, but he and his teammate Elena Stremos were actually having an incredible race. Now, unfortunately for Usov, he's not the quickest of skiers, and anyone probably could have predicted that Hartweg was going to catch him. Finally, in 2nd place, approximately 8 seconds up on Hartweg, we have Emilian Cloud. Yes, the brother of Fabian Cloud and Florent Cloud, who are World Cup regulars. Emilian has had a few World Cup starts this season, but he's been mostly on the IBU Cup. However, when comparing ski speed to Hartweg, he's actually been very competitive with Hartweg. I think technically Hartweg is a better skier. However, on Emilian's best days, he's actually posting some better ski times than Hartweg. So an 8-second lead was going to be something pretty difficult to overcome for the Swiss. All right, so here we go. Let's review Hartweg's last lap. So he has one more shot to take. As you can see, Emilian Cloud is already out. There goes Moldova and Usov, and Hartweg finally hits his last shot, gets his rifle on, and bursts off the mat. Now, again, I want you to watch him as he bursts off the mat. This is going to set him up for success right away. Throws the rifle on and just immediately starts picking up speed as he pulls away from the firing line. One of my biggest pet peeves is when people are just lackadaisically skiing away from the firing line and you're just giving away free seconds there. Not that he's going to win the race in this 50 meters, but right from the get-go, he's building up momentum and he's building up speed in order to chase. Gets his poles on quickly, glasses on, and now he's on the hunt. Now, because this is a shorter race, this is a single mixed relay, the course is only 1.5K, so the shortest course that you can do in an IBU event. So if he's going to make his move, he's got to act quickly because he's going to run out of real estate to catch his opponents. So the very first thing we see here is this long straightaway, gradual uphill. It's a V2. But the way that Hartweg is able to just kind of keep his composure and really prioritize good technique is incredible. Usov from Moldova in the black here, he's going really hard and his technique is getting a little bit sloppy. So although he looks like he's going super fast and super hard, he's really draining a ton of energy right now trying to keep this pace. Cloud from France has a little bit better technique, but you can tell he's tired. His tempo is a lot less and he's really relying on his power as opposed to his tempo. Meanwhile, Hartweg in the background, he already built up a bunch of speed, putting his poles on and attacking over this turn, and now he's got his competitors in his sight. He doesn't really need to just go all out and catch them immediately. He's going to play this course to his advantage. So right now he's prioritizing skiing with really good technique, and he's prioritizing skiing with tempo. So Cloud is definitely starting to get a little tired here, and you can see this by the fact that his upper body is starting to bow a little bit. And even when he's coming down onto his skis, he's starting to come down more off of his ski here. And I'd like to see him stay a little bit more committed to this gliding ski that he's on, but he's starting to get a little bit tired, a little bit lazy, and he's starting to transition over to the other side just a little bit too soon. Usov's definitely starting to get a little bit lazy because he's starting to get this bend in his body, which means he's not going to be as strong with the core. He's not fully committed. And when he's coming down, he's not coming down on the ski that he's gliding on. So he's not getting full glide onto his ski. And he's also kind of like leading with the hips a little bit. He's kind of swinging his hips side to side as opposed to coming down and then loading up, pushing off and over, and then coming up and then gliding on the flat ski over here. He's kind of doing one of these motions where he's just kind of going back and forth between being stuck in the middle. Hartweg, on the other hand, is feeling fresh and he's feeling good. Look at this total commitment over to this side that he's on, and there's no weird bend in his core. That tells me that he's feeling good and he's prioritizing really good technique. And then as we view Hartweg from the side, this is just absolutely beautiful lightning bolt of speed here. Everything is so far forward. He's totally committed to his pulls. Look where his hands are. And with this, he's going to load up. He's going to come straight down onto his pulls, and he's going to be using his core to crunch his way through the pulls. And now here's a question I get all the time. People are like, oh, but you always say stop your hands by your waist. But if you don't have high tempo, what's the point of that? Then you're just going to get your timing mixed up. While that may be a concern, I encourage you to sort of shift your focus from thinking of pulling as an arm exercise and more of a core exercise. Yes, you obviously use your arms when you're using your pulls, but if you can shift your mindset to pulling being more of a core exercise, you'll realize that the majority of that forward movement actually does come in this first initial stage. When you're planting the pulls into the ground, you're leaning so far forward from your ankle, and you get this nice lightning bolt of speed that if your pulls were to just disappear, you would fall flat on your face. So thinking about that initial phase of just really leaning onto your pulls and initiating your pulls into the snow, and then using your core to actually swing your lower body through, as opposed to using your muscles to push your pulls through. So the red is the application of power, and then the yellow is the follow through. So what happens is if you're standing straight up and down and you try to apply your pulls and use it like, you really use your arms to push yourself forward, your power phase is going to be everything here in the blue, and then your follow through is here because you're not going to be able to stop yourself here. And that's when people get their hands to come behind their waist. So if you can really prioritize your power application being here, then yellow will be your follow through, and then from here it's just about swinging your hands back up, getting them ready for the next phase. Again, all of this is only possible if you have the good lightning bolt of speed and you're forward into the trail. All right, so Hartweg is obviously skiing super good technique, and as you can see, he's already starting to catch his competitors. And you can really see from his race strategy that he takes this course in segments. And I think his first segment is from the range up to the top of the hill to about where this person in the yellow is standing. So the next time we see Hartweg, he's already caught OECH in the back here. And there's a nice little gradual downhill going into some flat and then uphill back to the stadium. So he's now into the second segment of his course, and he's skiing super relaxed. Look at how he just gets up. I love this coach right here. He's like, go around. He's really skiing relaxed, and he's recovering from the attack that he just put in. Now this little section right here where he was just standing up and not even really skiing, it really blew my mind because he obviously is skiing way better than OECH, but he's just catching the ride and letting OECH do the work. Now drafting in this portion of the course is not that big a difference. Drafting on downhills and like in tucks definitely makes a difference, and that'll come into play later in the race. But skiing, like actually skiing an uphill or a gradual uphill like they're doing here, drafting doesn't really make a difference. But what does make a difference is the ability to sort of let the person in front of you pull you. And anyone who's skied behind someone, especially while they're trying to do like an interval set or in a race scenario, you know that when you let the person in front of you sort of set the pace, it's really easy to keep that pace going. So right now in this section of the course, he's just recovering and he's keeping Cloud in sight because he wants to go for Cloud. But right now he's just skiing a good race, keeping it super relaxed and letting OECH pull him up. So this is where Hartweg is going to make his move. So he's got a nice little climb up to this little high point on the course, and then it's a massive downhill to the finish. So unfortunately, this is the best map of the course I could find. But so they left the range, they came out. This was where we're doing the technique analysis, the quick little uphill, and then they go down, around through here, and then this is where we pick them up right here, and this is where he currently is right now. This is the high point of the course, and everything down here that they will continue to ski to the finish is going to be all downhill except for obviously the finishing straightaway. All right, so here we go. This is just past the high point of the course, and they're starting to come into the downhill. Still a little bit of separation from Cloud, but as you can see, Hartweg has Cloud in his sights now. But here is because Hartweg put in his biggest attack on the climb going into the big downhill, His speed and his momentum is now way higher than Cloud's, and we're going to see the effect of that. So just by tucking, he's already catching him, and now he has to go around the outside because Cloud's not going to give him the best line, but he has so much more speed that he's able to just get right around him. So see how Hartweg is kind of going into the track here, but then he decides to ultimately jump out and then ski the rest of the downhill out of the track. This comes from being very focused during your warm-up, actually. So before your race, it's important to go, ski your course, see how it's skiing, see if there's maybe one side of the track that's skiing faster than the other, or maybe like, in the shade it's quicker than in the sun, etc. This right here, I bet he skied this downhill a few times during his warm-up and realized that his skis were moving faster out of the track than in the track. It would have been super easy to just get your skis in the track and let the track take you. But this is a product of realizing that your skis are moving quicker out of the track than they are in the track. And now Cloud, he's forced to follow Hartweg because he wants to get his draft, but at this point he's just too far away. The second thing is, yeah, Hartweg's really tired, but look how low he's tucking compared to Cloud. Cloud is really tired as well, and he's creating this little air pocket underneath his chest where he's actually creating like a little bit of a parachute effect, slowing him down, where Hartweg is in a full tuck aerodynamic position. Then the next time we see these guys is they come around the turn into the finish, and look at the gap that Hartweg was able to put on Cloud just in that downhill section. And again, this gap right here, this totally came 100% from Hartweg putting in a major speed into the downhill. And where did that major speed come from? It came from being calculated with his attack. Both Usov and Cloud attacked coming out of the range because they knew that they had to hold off Hartweg. So they went all out from the range up through here, and by the time they got to here, they were gassed and they weren't able to recover enough to have another attack on this uphill here. And meanwhile, Hartweg, yes, he skied very well through here. His goal was not to attack through here. His goal was to ski with good technique and be fast and probably ski at like 80% of what his max was. And by holding off that 20% and just realizing that there's another attack coming and calculating his results, he was able to attack this section of the course right here up to the high point. And look at this length of this trail here is like half the distance of this trail here. So you use your attack over a shorter amount of time, which means you can use more power and try to generate more speed. And what that did is it gave him an advantage all the way through here. So being calculated and leaving his attack for this section gave him twice as much of an advantage as these guys had through here. So this was just an absolutely beautiful masterclass in race strategy, knowing your course, knowing where to make your attack. And yeah, every time I see Hartweg, I'm just more and more impressed with what he's able to do and his maturity as an athlete over the next couple of years. So hopefully we'll see a lot more of Hartweg as he continues to mature on the World Cup. He's still young, definitely a future big name. And then with World Championships coming to Lenzerheide, this venue, in the next few seasons, I think he's only going to become more and more popular on the biathlon scene.